Shout out this guy Roman for making the tier list. Episode 1, The Boy in the Iceberg. This is obviously a very classic episode. I think I'm going to put it in S tier for sure, but I can say now it's not going to be the best episode of season 1. It's just going to be an S tier for now. But this episode, it's very, very good. Pilots are super important in any show, of course, and this show just does it so well. Everybody is characterized so well. The world building starts off incredibly strong, and it just continues to be strong throughout the whole show. So yeah, there's really nothing bad I can say about this episode. The Avatar returns, though. This is another goated episode, obviously, because we get to see the Avatar state, we get to see Zuko and Iroh more. The characterization and the world building just continue to be great, and I'm gonna put it behind The Boy in the Iceberg just because I feel like these two are kind of like, I think of them as one episode. I guess I don't, but I think of them as just like a two-parter, even though it doesn't say two-parter like some episodes. Now the Southern Air Temple, another goated episode. I feel like I could just say that for every single episode, but this one is probably gonna be the best right now, honestly, because this is one of the episodes that shows you that this show is legit. You know, it's serious. It's not just some funny kids show. This is gonna be something special because we get to see Gyatso's skeleton. We get to see firsthand the genocide of the air nomads, and we get obviously more of the main characters, and we get Katara saving Aang from the Avatar state from like wreaking havoc, even though he kind of did a little bit. So yeah, this episode is just amazing. Next up is the Warriors of Kyoshi. Believe it or not, this is another goated episode. I'm gonna put it, man, I want to put it at the top now, but I feel like I'm just gonna put every new episode at the top. Okay, no, I'm not, but I am gonna put this one at the top because this one introduces us to Suki, who is of course goated. I gotta keep like a goated counter of how many times I say goated. But we also get the whole Katara being kind of jealous of Aang thing. We get the Sokka and Suki thing, which is really the highlight. The Sokka and Suki thing is just, it's amazing. At the end, when she's like, I'm a warrior, but I'm a girl too. Oh my gosh, that's a banger. Top 15 line in the whole show, which 15 might not sound that good, but with how many lines that are amazing in this show there are, 15 is pretty good. Top 15 is amazing. Maybe the best line from Suki in the whole show. Next up, the King of Omashu. This one is not going to be put at the top, okay? I'm not going to just keep putting everything at the top. I'm going to put this one at the bottom for now because the only highlight I can really think of is Boomy, and it's a good highlight because he's a great character. But other than that, I just don't think there's too much in this episode. It's kind of the first, I guess you could say Kyoshi is first, but it's kind of the first just like fun, cartoony, I almost want to say formulaic kids TV show episode, if that makes sense. But it's still a good episode. We get to see Old Man with crazy muscles, and of course we get the Pip and Paddleopsicopolises. That's a highlight as well. That was my first try, by the way. You could probably tell anyways. Like, yeah, you sounded stupid. I know that was the first take. Okay, next up, Imprisoned. This one I feel like is kind of, it's gonna go at the bottom for now, but this one is kind of hated on already. People know it's not amazing, and I kind of agree with that, but it's still a good episode, I think. The best part is when Momo airbends.
No, you idiot, it's the girl! Oh.
That's a pretty good part, but the whole storyline with Katara, it's supposed to be like a cool little episode slash just moment for Katara, but it doesn't work that well, so it's gonna go in the back for now. Winter Solstice Part 1, The Spirit World. I'm probably just gonna rank the two parters together, so Winter Solstice just in general. This is actually really good because we get to see more Roku, of course, which is awesome. We get to see the Fire Nomads. Is that what they're called? The Fire Nomads? The Fire Sages, not Nomads. Air Nomads is what I was thinking of. Zhao is in this episode. Heibai, super cool. The big thing about this episode is obviously that we get the introduction to the spirits, which end up being a pretty big part of the show. And overall, for the first two-parter in the show, this does pretty well. I'm gonna put it just behind the first two episodes. The Waterbending Scroll. This is another good one. The characterization continues to be amazing, as we see with Aang. 2 copper pieces. Oh, he's so funny. We get some good parts with Iroh and Zuko. The Zuko and Katara moment is really cool, even though some people say that it's like the beginning of Zutara, which I won't share my feelings about Zutara yet. That is a topic for a separate video, but along with the other stuff I said, we get to see Aang start waterbending a little more. I think this might actually be the first time that he starts trying to waterbend with Katara's help, and he ends up being better, and then she's like, oh my gosh, this sucks. But this episode, I'm gonna put it just behind Winter Solstices. But actually, I've been putting everything into S tier. I just realized I've been putting everything into S tier, so I'm gonna move everything down from Winter Solstice. I'm gonna move all these down to A tier. Now we have Jet. This is maybe a divisive episode. I almost want to put it in S tier, to be honest, but I don't think I will. I'm gonna put it at the top of A tier right now. Let me tell you why. Jet as a character is really good, I think, and if he actually did end up being with Katara in the show, that would have been really stupid, but obviously they didn't, you know, they're not that dumb. The writers know what they're doing. So he's just kind of a one-off character until he unfortunately potentially passes away in season 2, but we don't know, right? It was really unclear. Anyways, I just like this episode's story, and I like the freedom fighters and how they're all just so unique, and they're not all just like Jet's puppets, you know, they are individual characters, and they're all really well written, and their designs are really fun. And yeah, this episode is just really great. Sokka delivers one of the best lines in the whole show, so this episode is going into the top of A tier, which might be slightly controversial, but it's a great episode, so I will stand by that. Next up, The Great Divide. We're gonna put it in top of C tier. It's just filler. Everyone knows this. What more do I need to say? The Storm, though, is gonna be the best of the show so far. People say that this episode is the transition into Avatar becoming something super serious. It's not just a kids show anymore, which I kind of got that from the Southern Air Temple, but I understand this episode is that to another level, and it's just an amazing episode, amazing storytelling. The writing really kicks in. We get to learn more about Zuko, which is maybe the biggest reason why this episode is so kind of dark and mature. We also, of course, learn a lot about Aang as he talks to Katara in the cave, and this episode just ramps up the story so much. It's not just some fun episode where they do something cool like this episode or this episode or this episode. It's just it's a serious episode, and that's why it's at the top right now. Next up, The Blue Spirit. This episode is really good. I'm not sure where to put it. Obviously, the highlight is Zuko being the Blue Spirit, which is not like a crazy plot twist, but it's obviously very important to the story. It's very well done, and it just shows the audience even more about Zuko's character, you know, his motivations, and you kind of start to feel for Zuko a little more, and he's not just the villain anymore. He's obviously doing it for his own gain, but because he saves Aang from Zhao, it still just makes the audience, even though he's doing it for a bad reason, it still just makes the audience feel for him a little more, like him a little more, and that's obviously super important considering his arc throughout the season. I mean, the whole show is gonna be absolutely incredible. So, The Blue Spirit, I'm gonna put it, I think, the bottom of S tier. Next up, The Fortune Teller. This is another good one. It's not gonna be an S tier, I can tell you that. This is where we get the Aang and Katara romance kind of hinted at. Well, not hinted at, it's definitely just like directly said. But this is when we finally get that, and we have the shot at the end where Katara is like realizing that Aang might be the person that the Fortune Teller was talking about. This is so crazy. And then they end up getting married and having kids, and it's a great time. And then Aang dies, and Katara has to deal with Korra instead. But anyways, this episode it's kind of another case of just being like a cartoony episode where they go do something fun, like The King of Omashu, like The Great Divide, like Imprisoned, but it's not as bad as The Great Divide, obviously, or Imprisoned, or The King of Omashu. And I think actually it's gonna be somewhere around here. I'm gonna put it here in front of King of Omashu. Great episode, good story, and really just impressive visuals, and we get to see Aang really bending to the fullest when he stops the volcano, and it's just so sick, dude. He's got so much aura. Next up, Bato of the Water Tribe. This is a good one. We get to obviously meet Bato, and we get the whole sailing scene with the three of the main characters, and Aang gets the mark of the trusted, and he's like, shoot, I can't get this because I'm lying to them. And we get to hear more about Hakoda, Katara and Sokka's dad, which is cool even though we don't see him. And we get the whole fight between Zuko and Aang. We get to see June, and Iroh tries to get a little busy, but come on, dude, she's too young for you. Overall, really solid episode. I'm gonna put this one ahead of The Fortune Teller. Next up, we got The Deserter. Okay, this is such a great episode. This is what my last video was on, actually. Not this episode, but it was about Jong. And I'm gonna put this one in S tier somewhere. I think I'm gonna put it ahead of the Southern Air Temple. I could almost put it in front of Kyoshi, but I won't do it. This episode is just so good. Jong, one of the best characters. He's barely in the show at all. He's got like a couple minutes of screen time in the whole show, but he's just such a great character. We see him firebending at levels we hadn't seen in the show before up to this point, and even levels that we don't see again until the comet. We also get his like pupil, or whoever the second guy to escape the Fire Nation army, what's his name? Che, who is also a great character. But Zhao is also great in this episode, or he's not great, I should say. But the fight at the end with Aang, where it's not even really a fight, he's kind of just dodging, that's a great moment in the show. But really, it's just Jong, bro. Like, Jong, he's the GOAT. And before I move on, I'm gonna actually move some stuff into B tier, just so that these are a little more even, because everything is just an S or A tier right now, except for The Great Divide. So I'm gonna put The King of Omashu and Imprisoned in B tier. Okay, I kind of didn't really even it out that much, but I didn't want to move anything else down from A tier, because the episodes are just so good. Next, we got the Northern Air Temple. I'm not a huge fan of this episode. I probably don't like it as much as most people do. The Mechanist is a kind of cool character, and his son, who is, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting names. Teo is pretty cool, and you know what, maybe I should give this episode a little more credit, solely because of the ending where Sokka and the Mechanist come up with the hot air balloons and bombs plan to fight off the Fire Nation. That's pretty cool, but other than that, I don't particularly find this episode super interesting compared to the rest of them, so I'm gonna put it at the top of B tier. Next up, the Waterbending Master. We are finally in the Northern Water Tribe, which is obviously super cool, but this episode, I'm gonna put it, let me talk about it first, actually, hold your horses. Obviously, we meet Paku in this episode, among other characters, and he refuses to teach Katara, so she tries to fight him and loses, and realizes that he is actually familiar with Gran, and in the end, they actually end up being together, but that's not important. What's important is that we get the cool Katara fight with Paku. We obviously enter the Northern Water Tribe. We see Zhao kind of prepare his siege on the Northern Water Tribe, and we get Sokka and Yue, which is obviously amazing. So this episode is just filled with a lot of stuff. It's all very fun, it's all very cool, and the Northern Water Tribe is just a really fun place for the main characters and the show. It's just a fun place to be in. A lot happens. It's very unique. The set design well, not set design because it's animated, but the visuals, I should say, are fantastic. So I'm gonna put this episode at the bottom of S tier. And finally, finale, the Siege of the North. This is obviously when the North gets sieged. I know, I'm such a genius. Anyways, compared to the other season finales, this one is definitely the weakest, but it's also the first season, so naturally I feel like it's kind of going to be that way, but maybe not. Maybe that doesn't make sense. This is still a good finale though, and even though book 1 is the weakest, I think it ends on a pretty strong note. Koizilla is alright, I guess. Not my favorite way to close off the season and to showcase Aang's strength and just to have a climactic, intense, exciting finale. I feel like they could have come up with something a little better than just giant fish monster, but it's not bad. And okay, but I should talk about the rest of the episode. Zuko sneaks into the water tribe and tries to steal Aang. Doesn't quite work, but Aang saves him. I especially like the moment when Katara and Zuko are fighting and one of them gets the edge depending on whether it's night or day, and when it's daytime, Zuko's like, I rise with the sun, and then he steals Aang. I think that was a cool part, but one of my favorite parts of the episode is when Iroh steps up and defends the spirits from Zhao, and he's like, whatever you do to them, I will release on you tenfold, something like that. That was just a really cool part. Another reason why Iroh is just incredible, such a great character. But we also get Yue's sacrifice, which is so sad. Sorry, Sokka, that's rough, buddy. But we also get the spirit world in this episode, which is pretty cool. We get to see Ko, the face stealer. We get to see Aang absolutely lock in and not show any emotion, which would definitely be difficult for a kid like him, but hey, he's the Avatar. He knows what he's doing. He's locked in. That's a really cool part. That's just more world building, more about the spirit world that we learn about, which is cool. This episode is just so good, but I do think it suffers from Koizilla. I'm not a huge fan of Koizilla. I said that already, but still a really solid finale, and I'm going to put it at the top of A tier. And now that we have all of this sorted, I think I'm going to do some reorganizing, just because maybe some of this isn't exactly what I want. I feel like maybe I could even out the tiers a little bit. So let's actually change these from S and A and B. Let's do this instead. I'm just going to do peak, amazing, and then so good, pretty good, and then solid, and then I guess this one will just do trash, but this one's going to be empty. So with that being said, I'm going to move the Great Divide down to solid. I'm going to move these down to pretty good. I'm going to put these in so good, and let's see, do I want to move anything around? I guess I will put the Blue Spirit and the Waterbending Master right here, and then actually, you know what, I'm also going to put the first 2 episodes in here because they are amazing, but they're not peak, and I think that looks pretty good. Do I want to change anything else? I don't think so. I think that's it. This is my final tier list of season 1 of Avatar: The Last Airbender, the greatest show on earth. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you would change any of my rankings. Let me know if you think that the Great Divide should have been in peak. I will not hear you out, but tell me anyways. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see season 2 tier list, then leave a comment, like and subscribe, and until next time.